everyone, it's Kathy Champion and I'm your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in North Carolina, and I serve customers all over the US. So if you do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you are interested in looking at a catalog or interested in purchasing some products, please either hit me up with an email. My email will be listed in the description below, or you can go directly to my website and you can register there, place an order, and that will put you into being my customer. Before we get started with our project today, I wanted to announce that Stampin' Up! Is having a one-day online extravaganza sale. This is like a once a year type sale. It's a one day only and it starts tomorrow. So for the full day of let's see, that would be November the 24th, almost everything in our annual catalog is on sale. It does have some exclusions, and the exclusions are your basic products like your Stampin' Seal, your ink refills, your consumables. I think is what you could say. All of your consumables that would, and some of the tools. So, but if you have had your eyes on some stamp sets, some die sets, and things like that, you will be very pleased with this sale. It is like a first come first serve, so if something's on back order, you kind of miss out on that sale. So shop early and take advantage of this sale. 24-hour sale, and it says shop now. This is called their Merry and Bright. It does not include the mini catalog, which is our holiday catalog, but it does include everything that is in our annual catalog, with the exception of some exclusions. A lot of your 8.5 by 11 standard paper is excluded. Some of the kits are excluded. But if you have your eye on a stamp set with a die set, this is the time to get it. Some of the punches are on sale, some are not. There is an exclusion list, and I will try to get that up on my website so that you can see what the exclusions are. But mostly your stamps and your dies are going to be 10% off. So wanted to make that announcement and let y'all know that that is coming up tomorrow, so which is the 24th of November. Now, let's go ahead and move to our project for today. Unfortunately, this is not one of the items that is on sale. Nevertheless, this is beautiful. This is the Feels Like Frost paper. Look at that side. I love the silver foils on the other side, but it's so hard to make up your mind. But you do get 4 sheets of each design, so you could do 2 on this and 2 like that, and you have the best of both worlds. But I want to cut a scene out of here where it has a little bit of the snow and some of the trees, and cut it off on the top. I'm going to do my card base out of this Highland Heather, and I'm going to cut our snowflakes out of the, it's called the Balmy blue Glimmer paper, and look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And we're going to cut our snowflakes out of this. I think it'll be beautiful, and a great way to add that blue to that card. So we'll use that piece, and I'm going to use some of the I pulled the dies from this, the So Many Snowflakes, and that's the dies. And then of course here is your snowflakes, and it is 2 sets of dies, and they are gorgeous. And you could also stamp these. They're beautiful, done in silver or even in a blue. Beautiful, beautiful snowflakes. So I am going to grab one of the sentiments off of here. Snowflake Wishes for Merry Christmas. That'll probably be on the front, and we'll go from there. So I'm just laying all of this out, and let's go ahead and start with our card base. That's always a good place to start. And what I'm going to do is cut this I am just butterfingers today. I am going to cut this piece of cardstock down to an A2 size card, and I am going to cut it on the 11-inch side. So I'm going to put the 11-inch side in my trimmer, and I'm going to cut up on 5.5. And then we are going to score this piece at 4 1/4. And we're going to give it a fold. Now when I do my cardstock, I like to take it out of my trimmer and even up my corners and hold them, making sure they're nice and square. Just like that. And then I like to press my cardstock into that fold. And then I come back with a bone folder and just really burnish it down. I like to turn it over and do it on both sides so I get a good crease. Now we're ready to cut where we want the scenery. So I want to lay it on my card and decide what do I want out of here. So I think I'm going to take about 1/4 inch off the top. So just 1/4 inch. And then I know that this is 6 and I need it to be 5 1/4. So I am going to take, let's start out with 1/4 1/4, that would be 1/2, and we're going to probably need another 1/4. Let's see, let's start out with 1/4. And another 1/4, that takes 1/2 inch off of that, that gives us 5 1/2. So now if we put this here, we have 5 1/2. And we need it to be 5 1/4, so we need 1/8 inch off of each side. So I'm going to line it up on my 1/8 inch. And I know this might sound a little nitpicky to do it this way, but I wanted to get as much of those trees on my card as I possibly could. Alright, now this should give us our 5 1/4, and it does. So now I need to cut a little bit off of the back, so we know, or the bottom, we know that we need this to be 4 inches. So I'm going to lay it in here at 4. And I'm just going to cut it off at 4. This right here gives us a great piece to put our sentimental on. And now this piece, I've got a few little fuzzies right there, will perfectly fit on here. But before we do anything else, I want to grab this beautiful metallic mesh ribbon. Now, I think this kind of went unseen because it was over in the Halloween portion of the mini catalog, and I think they wanted it to look like spider web, but this has a beautiful frosted look. So I want to take off about, let's see, and I usually like to use my card as my measurement. I want 2 pieces that are about that much. So I'm going to trim that, and then I will tell you how much it was. You're going to need 2 pieces that are about 6 1/4. And what you want to do, I'm going to go ahead and cut this also. 6 1/4. And it doesn't have to be exact because you're just wrapping it, but you do want it to be enough that will catch behind the card, behind that mat. And I'll show you how we're going to put that on. So I'm just going to put my piece of tape back on here to hold my ribbon so it doesn't come all getting ravelly off of my card. Nobody wants that. So I'm going to use some Stampin Seal Plus. And what I'm going to do is on the back of this, I'm going to put down a piece here and a piece here. And over on the side, there and there. And then what I want to do is fold this. You want to fold it in half vertically. So it gives you a more narrow piece, but it's more intense with what you're doing with it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to lay this. Let me get my Silicone Craft Mat. Okay. So now I can lay this on here and not worry about that sticking because it will not stick to silicone. So now I can fold this over like so. And I like to press it in my fingers just to get it a nice crease on it. And what I want to do is I want to bring it to the edge of my card, just like this. And I'm going to pick that up and wrap it, because I want that to wrap around the back of that card and just catch in that adhesive that we put on the back. I came up with this card design while my granddaughter was here. She wanted her Gammy to make her card, so I made her this one, and it turned out so pretty. I said, I'm going to have to share this with all of my friends on YouTube and see if they like it as much as I did. So I am going to put that outside edge to the outside, and we're going to pick it up again and just bring that over so it sticks into that glue or the adhesive, and again there. Okay, so and if you want to, you could run just a little bit like right here, just to stick that down so it's not kind of waving, which is a really good idea and not hard to do even when you put this on. So there. Now that is stuck where it needs to be. The next thing we're going to do is adhere this to our card front. And look how pretty that is. Alright, so I'm going to turn this back over again, and I'm going to use some more of my Stampin Seal, because I really love this stuff. I don't know about y'all, but I think the Stampin Seal Plus works much better than the regular Stampin Seal. So now I'm going to use my same little technique that I always use when I'm putting my card base on. I'm going to put it right here, get it lined. Once I get this side lined, I can go ahead and stick it down and then just follow through with the rest of it. And that looks so pretty. Look at that. I mean, it's already a winter wonderland, but look what that ribbon does, and it just sparkles. I don't know if it's catching the light, but in person it is gorgeous. It looks like you've got frost on your card. Alright, the next thing that I want to do is I want to use the other piece. No, we're going to use the Glimmer. I'm going to use this for something else. We are going to cut a piece off of here. And what I like to do is lay my snowflakes down. And it kind of gives me an idea of where I need to cut this, because I do not want to use the entire piece. I want to I want to conserve as much of this as I can. So I am going to look at where I'm at, and I think we can cut this off about 2.5. Yep, I think that looks good. So 2.5. And this will give us the pieces that we need to do our die cutting. I am going to cut this off here. I'm very conservative with my specialty cardstock for 2 reasons. One is a lot of times this stuff retires and you really want to have some on hand in case you want to make a different card with it. The other thing is it's usually more expensive. So any of your specialty paper will run you a little bit more money, so I like to be as conservative as I can. I'll bring these over. And let's look at these. Sometimes you have to wiggle these out of the specialty paper. You know, just give it a little tug, but be gentle so you don't tear your pieces. And then here are our snowflakes. We still have a few little pieces in there, but I'm going to grab my take your pick tool, and I'm going to use this just to poke out those extra little pieces. And look at that. And these are going to be so beautiful on this card. So now we're going to poke out some more of these. And we got one more. Let's see, and that one looks like it's good. And so I like to go back over my dies and make sure that I got all those pieces out so I don't have to clean them on my next crafting project. So I just go over them with the brush, and it usually takes everything out, and there was nothing in that little one. So I'm going to brush these up. Alright, 2 more things that we need to do. And you know what else we could do? We could just stamp this and fussy cut it, and that's always a plus, and it looks really pretty that way. So why don't we do that? So what I'm going to do is I want to stamp this in. I think I'm going to go with the Highland Heather. I'm going to lay this on my grid paper so that I can get it lined up nice and straight. And then we will stamp it right here, just like that. I'm going to stamp it kind of to the bottom and maybe over just a little bit. Be beautiful. And then all I'm going to do is use my fussy cut scissors, and we're just going to cut around that and make it look really kind of cute. So this is a very easy technique to do. You just come up around your words. I think it gives a whimsical feel to your wording, and it allows you to just kind of willy-nilly cut out around your pieces. And then when I get back down to here, I'm going to cut straight across. And if you need to take a longer pair of scissors, like these, and just even that up, you can do that too. Much easier to cut a straight line with a pair of longer scissors than shorter. So there we go. Isn't that pretty? And of course we're going to pop that up. And we might even take a piece of the Highland Heather and put behind it. Or maybe a blue. That would be pretty. You know what would be really pretty is to put it on a piece of this. That would make it a lot more substantial. Okay, why not? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out about like this. And okay, I'm back, and all I did was I glued down this sentiment that I had stamped out to this piece of Glimmer paper, and I just used my liquid glue to do that with. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this, but I want to cut it where it's big enough that everybody can see this, that it has this beautiful silver border around the bottom and sides of it. So I'm just going to fussy cut around. And I'm just going to kind of follow that same line that I used earlier, but I'm going to go a little bit bigger and just work it around just like so. I think it's just going to look pretty to have that little bit of shimmer back behind that sentiment, just like this, and around like that. And then what I want to do is I want to put this right here, but I want to pop it up on some dimensionals. So let's grab our dimensionals. And I've got some little bits and pieces, so I'm going to use those. I never waste these. I always get as much use out of them as I can. So when I'm done, I cut around the edges. I just take my snips and I go in like this, and I just snip, snip, and then this allows me to get use out of these little pieces that are around the edges, and they work great. As you can see, there's no need to waste these because they are still very much usable. So once we get enough of those on there, I'm just going to take your pick tool, and I'm going to lift off the backers. Because these will have the backers on it just like the other dimensions have. So once I get those all cut, all lifted off of there, then I'm just going to take this and I want to sit it down right here toward the bottom, in between that ribbon. I think that's just a beautiful place for this to live, just like that. And now for these, I'm going to put these on, and I'm also going to use a little liquid glue. And where I want this to go is just right here in the middle. A little bit of liquid glue and a little bit on the ends. I'm just using the larger portion of my snowflake to be able to put these down. And I want that to just kind of live right there on top of that lace. Now this one I'm just going to do right in the middle. And again, I'm going to put that one down right there. And then this one, oops, I still had a little, one of my little middles is hanging. So get that off of there. And now this one looks like our bigger places is right here on this outside of the snowflake. So I'm going to use that as my point where my glue is going to go. And I'm going to gently put it right about here. Now if you feel like that they're not sticking good enough over top of the lace, then just put a little bit more on it and press it. And if you have to, you can always sit something heavy on there. One of the things that I like to do is use the larger stamp block and just sit that down over it while it's drying. So while that's working and drying, I'm going to grab a piece of paper that I want to go in for my sentiment. And I think what I want to do is I want to use a piece of this Glimmer paper. So I'm going to cut a piece of this off. So let's move this over to the side and just let that adhere while we cut a piece of this. And we know we need it to be the size of a mat for an A2 size card is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to go 4 this way and 5 1/4 to 1/4 this way. And you're going to have a nice little strip left over here that would be great for the back of a sentiment. So I'm going to hang on to that. And then I also want to cut, I do want to cut it out of this piece. So I want the 2 pieces here. So I'm going to knock out my little pieces that are still stuck in this one. Just like that. And I'm going to center this right here in the middle. And then what we're going to do is let's see what we got. Clean off my cut plate a little bit. And we'll take off my adhesives. And I'll stick these right there. And lift this up. And then let's punch this out. Oh, that's so pretty. Just like that. A few more pieces that needs to be pulled out. Just make sure you get all of those excess pieces out, because if you don't see the true beauty of your die cut. So there was some pieces right there. A lot of times if you turn it over to the back, you can see them better from the back side of what needs to come out than you can from the front, because the glitter can be kind of deceiving as to what needs to pop out. So, but once you get those out, because when we put a white background back here, it's going to be beautiful. So I am just making sure that all of these little pieces have come loose. And those are good. Now we got a few more right here. And here. And there. Really does make a difference once you poke all of those little pieces out, and then you've got this. So let's just get these out of our way in our die. And now I want to cut a window that's going to go behind that. So it's going to look like this card. So, or do I want to leave it? Let's look at our card again. This is adhered now beautifully, so we've got that ready. Yeah, I definitely want a white piece behind there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this. And I'm going to cut it just slightly smaller. So we had it at 4, so I'm going to cut it at 3 3/4 by 5. So I'm taking it down 1/4 of an inch from what the original mat was. And then this is going to go on here like so. And the way I want to do this is I'm going to put some snail or some tape runner, the Stampin Seal, and I'm going to run it close to the edge, just like that, so that I make sure that I'm getting that white paper to stick just where I need it to. So now we're just going to lay this down on top of here. Oops. You know, it doesn't matter if this is hanging off. If you get this crooked, that does not matter at all, because you can always take your scissors. No one's going to see this. You can take your scissors and just trim right along there, because this is going to be adhered down to the inside of the card. So no one will know that that was trimmed. Now we're ready to put a sentiment inside of here. And we've got Snowflake Wishes for a Merry Christmas. So let's look at this and see. In the coldest moments of the year, my heart is warm because you're near. Or how about this one, May your season sparkle. I love that one. May your season sparkle. And I think it's on this one. Yeah, I love that sentiment. So we're going to stamp that right inside of that open window. And now my question is, what color ink should I use? And I think for this one, rather than going with the Highland Heather, like we did on the outside, I don't know though, I think the Highland Heather is beautiful. And it would definitely tie together the card. So maybe we will go with Highland Heather. See a little piece of cardstock hanging over right there. So I'm going to snip that just a tiny bit more. And we are going to put this down, and we're going to do the Highland Heather in the middle. So I am going to pull that one off, and we're going to pick this one up. Just like so. Looks beautiful. And then we'll pull our ink pad over, and I'm going to bring this back off of the card so that I can get it right here where I can see what I'm doing. And look how beautiful that glitter paper is going to look on the inside. What a surprise when they open the card and see that beautiful glitter. And I really think this ties everything together. So I'm going to look right about here, and we're going to stamp. Beautiful. I love that. Now all we have to do is turn this over, put some Stampin' Seal on the back of this, and this is ready to go into the inside of our card. So I am just going to run a little bit along here. And a piece across the front, or the center I should say. And then I am going to even this up inside, making sure I'm getting that 1/8 of an inch all the way around, and then put that down. what a beautiful, beautiful card this turned out to be. I love it. I love the shimmer. I love the accent of having this beautiful ribbon on it that just shimmers and sparkles. I'm going to trim that off right there because it does look like it's trying to fray a little bit. And there we go. And how, I mean, it's just lovely. It's just a lovely card to send to anyone for the holiday season. This particular paper pack and the Feels Like Frost could be used for birthdays right on through the winter. I mean, this could take you all the way into March, this pack of paper. It is a beautiful, beautiful pack, and that's the one with this background. And like I said, on the other side, it's the silver with white. And it's gorgeous, so you could get a lot of use out of that. I absolutely love my Snowflake Wishes, the die set and the stamps. You will find so many uses, and you will find yourself coming back to this stamp set over and over and over. I know that I have, just in the short time that I've had it. So anyway, again, I want to remind you about the sale that starts tomorrow, 24-hour one-day sale for, they're calling it Merry and Bright, so I think it is Stampin' Up's idea of having a sort of like a Black Friday sale, but they're doing it the day before Thanksgiving, or no, they're doing it on Tuesday, 2 days before Thanksgiving. So be thankful for the sale, and y'all go and take a look at my website. I'll have a link for that in the description below. And remember, anytime during the 24 hours of the 24th, so from Monday night, I think, midnight, through midnight the following day, well, a Tuesday, will cover that 24-hour sale. So go and take a look. I'm sure you'll find something there that you absolutely love, and I hope that you would try this card. And if you do, email me with a picture of what you do. I would absolutely love to see your creations, because this is a beautiful paper, a beautiful, this Balmy Blue Glimmer paper is stunning by itself. But when you couple it with this paper, this Feels Like Frost, and your sentiments from the Snowflake Wishes, it just makes a beautiful, beautiful card. I hope you enjoyed the process of me making this, and I hope that you will try one. And until we craft again, as I always say in closing, let everything you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is so worthy. And y'all be safe and happy and craft on. Bye-bye.